Good morning, ma'am. My name is Charity Lahoylahoy, and together with Ivy, we are going to discuss or to report about Rizal's annotations to Antonio de Morga's Sucesos de las Islas, Filipinas. Annotation means a note of explanation or comment added to a text or diagram. Sucesos de las Islas, Filipinas, in English translation is events in the island of Philippines. In Tagalog, mga kaganapan sa isla ng Pilipinas. This manuscript of Antonio de Morga is composed of 8 chapters and it is all about the documentations of events during Spanish colonial period in the Philippines as observed by the author himself. This includes Filipino customs, traditions, manners, and religion. Rizal had been contemplating on a well-written history of the Philippines when he finished his first novel in 1877. So after Jose Rizal finished his first novel in 1877, which is the Nolimitang Hire, where he published it in Berlin, Germany at the age of 26 years old, he looked thoughtfully or considered reading a well-written history of the Philippines, and that is the manuscript of Antonio de Morga entitled Sucesos de las Islas, Filipinas. But he was too reluctant or he hesitated to do it at first because of his lack of resources. So, instead, he implored his friend Ferdinand Blumentritt to write the history of the Philippines due to his expertise in the subject matter, to which the latter refused. So instead of losing hope, Rizal requested his friend Ferdinand Blumentritt to write the history of the Philippines. But why Blumentritt? It's because Jose Rizal and Blumentritt were best friends, and also Blumentritt was an Austrian teacher, a secondary school principal in Litmeritz, a lecturer, and an author of articles and books in the Philippines and its ethnography. He spoke 3 languages such as English, Czech, and German. They became best friends. It's because Blumentritt translated a chapter of Jose Rizal's first novel, Nolimitang Hire, into German and wrote its preface to its second novel, which is the El Filibusterismo, although Blumentritt was against its publication as he believed that it would lead to Rizal's death. And even though they were best friends at that time, still Blumentritt refused the request of Jose Rizal. Why? It's because Blumentritt believes that nobody is in the best position to write an authentic history of a nation except Filipino himself. That was his reason why he refused Rizal's request. So Jose Rizal, realizing that his plea did not stand a chance, he decided to do it by himself and in his own way. Instead of writing an entire book dedicated to our country, he rather assorted to annotating a previously published Philippine history book entitled Sucesos de las Islas, Filipinas. Antonio de Morga. Antonio de Morga was a Spanish soldier, lawyer, and a high-ranking colonial officer for 43 years. In 1580, he joined the Spanish government. In 1593, he was appointed as Lieutenant Governor of Spain Colony in the Philippines, the second in command next to Governor General. In 1598, he assumed the position of Oidor, or judge in the Audiencia. In 1600, he led the Spanish troops against Dutch invaders led by Oliver van Mul. This battle between Spanish troops and Dutch invaders paved the way of Antonio de Morga's position, paved the way for his relief in his position and transfer to Mexico, where he published his first novel in 1609. It's because they were defeated at that time. Jose Rizal, after getting permission from his friends and authorities, he devoted his time and laboriously conducted his extensive research at the British Museum in London for 4 months. This happened between the month of September to December in the year 1889, where he found the original manuscript of Sucesos. And since technology was not yet advanced during his time, he patiently hand-copied the entire book, and he also dared to read other chronicles in the Philippines, such as those written by Pigafetta, Chirino, Hulen, Gaspar de San Agustin, Combis, and etc., and compare them to Antonio de Morga's narratives to see which accounts corroborated or to see which accounts justify the history of the Philippines. Rizal's comments can be found in the footnotes of his edition. Important questions beg for answers. First, among the history books written and published, why did Jose Rizal choose the work of Morga? The answer lies in the background and personality of the author. First, Morga saw the transition of periods from early Philippine societies to colonial Philippines. He was an eyewitness, so his accounts were more reliable compared to other narratives. Upon the arrival of Spanish colonizers in the Philippines, Antonio de Morga was there and he witnessed the early Philippine societies or the life and cultures of Filipinos before they colonized the Philippines up until the colonization periods where Filipinos became slaves of the Spanish government. Second, Morga was not a member of religious congregations like Jesuits, Dominicans, Franciscans, etc. So his accounts were secular in nature. So Antonio de Morga was not a member of any religious groups or gatherings. So his accounts were secular in nature. But it is not to say that religious accounts or narratives were not credible. It was just that chronicles of friars might not be considered history in its modern concept. But why it might not be considered history in its modern concept? It's because friar chronicles cannot be described as history in modern sense, but a narrative with the moral lessons. And the last question for me, why did Jose Rizal annotate the work of Antonio de Morga? It's because Rizal wants us to realize that Spanish colonizers and Filipinos are not equal. Were unique before the Spanish colonizers came and destroyed our culture.
So the important question begged for an answer is first, among the history books written and published, why did Rizal choose the work of Morga? It is because, first, Morga saw the transition of periods from early Philippine societies to colonial Philippines. Hence, he was an eyewitness, so his accounts were more reliable compared to other narratives. So, nakita ni Morga mga desisyon ng mga panahon mula sa mga unang lipunang Pilipino tungo sa colonial sa Pilipinas. So, siya ay saksi sa mga panghitabo din. So, his accounts were more reliable compared to others. Second, Morga was not a member of religious congregations, Jesuits, Dominicans, Franciscans. That is why his accounts were more secular in nature. The second question is, what are the contributions or results annotation to Morga's Sucesos? The historian Floro Gubbien provides the answers. First, Rizal's scholarship was based on German historiography which utilized modern historical method. So, may gamit na sila ng mga makabagong pamamaraang pangkasaysayan. Second, Rizal's research into the past was intended as a basis for critiquing colonialism as well as for defining sa mga Pilipino to its national identity. So, also Rizal made a strong claim for viewing national identity within Asian Pacific perspective. So, ako gid siya o pag-angkin para sa pagtingin sa pabansang pagkakakinahanglan sa loob ng Asian Pacific perspective. Fourth, Rizal's work had impact. Nagkaroon ito ng impact sa kilusang makabansa, particular sa katipunan ni Bonifacio. So, Rizal overall just wanted to use the words of early Spaniards to refute the thesis of colonial apologists of his time. So, in his introduction, if the book succeeds to awaken your consciousness of the past already effaced from your memory. So, ang ihalang masulti din is he just wanted to tell us na he just want to let Filipino realize that they were not equal to Spanish colonizer because they have their own unique civilization, but it was just destroyed by the colonizers. So, Rizal's 1890 edition of Antonio de Morga's Sucesos de las Islas, Filipinas. So, kita niyo, no? Taas kaayo siya. So, he just ano siya, yung 1890 edition. Sa buong isla ko, no, na ibang lugar na kung saan may mga sagana sa ginto at iba pang mga produktong mineral na kinokolekta ng mga natives through washing or placer mining. So, binibili kayo sa una. Ngayon pa man, pagkatapos manirahan ng mga Spaniards sa isla, ay ang mga tubo ay naging maluwag sa pamimina ng ginto. Contenting themselves with what they already had in the form of jewelry and ancient ingots of gold. Galing pa sa ilahang mga ancestors, mga tawag ni mga ancestors which were abundant in themselves, but in fact poor and indigent was indeed one who did not possess gold, chains, bracelets, and earrings. Ang nakaapan nga ni kay mga poor boy, wala yun mga inana. Rizal's annotation, the end use in seeing the wealth arose the capacity of the ecomenderos and soldiers, na pukaw sila, abandoned the work in the mines, and Greece historians relate that in order to save them from vexations, they recommended to such procedures. So that would be all. Thank you for listening.